Thank you, sir.
You can share your screen.
Yeah, just I'm sharing, sir. Is my slides visible, sir?
Not to me at least. Yeah, you can make it full screen. Yeah, now it's fine.
Okay. So, thank you, organizers and Dr. Tarachan, for giving me this opportunity. It is difficult to cover the management of thymic malignancies in the next 10 minutes. So, I would be quickly going through my slides, and pardon me if I'm missing something. So, we all know when it comes to mediastinal tumors, in the anterior mediastinum, the most common malignancy is thymic malignancy, which occupies 50% of the anterior mediastinal masses. And when we go to, it is most common in adults. So, what are the different types of tumors of thymus? So, these are epithelial tumors, and thymoma is the most common type, which varies as per the different histological grades from type A to special types to B3. And when it is type C, it becomes thymic carcinoma. And in thymic carcinoma, we have various types of histology. And then rarely we may have neuroendocrine tumors in thymus also, carcinoids and atypical neuroendocrine carcinoma also. Now, this is the thymoma classification which has evolved over the decades. And what is now followed is the WHO system of classification, whereby we classify them from type A to type C. Type A is well differentiated more in the medulla spindle cell type, and type B becomes more in the cortex and more towards differentiating towards the thymic carcinoma, which becoming almost a atypical thymoma or a thymic carcinoma in type B3, whereas type C, it becomes a high grade thymic carcinoma as such. And this is the updated 2015 WHO classification, which also incorporates immunohistochemistry into this grading and classification. And we have the Masoka system of classification, which is the staging of thymic malignancies. And this is mainly focusing on the degree of invasion of the capsule and the surrounding structures. So, as we go to thymic carcinoma, there is more invasion of the capsule and surrounding structures. And this is the Masoka classification. And now we have the TNM classification. Now, the TNM and the Masoka is slightly different because as you come to T1, and so mediastinal pleural involvement is stage 2 in Masoka, and pericardial involvement stage 3 in Masoka, but it becomes T2 and T1 in the AJCC. So AJCC is somewhat downstaged. So stage 1 in Masoka may mean a stage stage 2 in Masoka may mean a stage 1 in TNM. So this is a newer system, and the data is mainly based on the clinical management is mainly based on the Masoka, and current consensus recommends that we should use both the Masoka as well as the TNM staging. Now, if you come to thymoma, so thymoma is rare, more common in adults, more common in men, usually diagnosed early in the third or fourth decade when it is associated with myasthenia gravis, but without myasthenia, usually diagnosed in later 7 to 8 decades. 30% patients are asymptomatic with an incidental finding of a mediastinal mass. 40% patients are symptomatic, present with local symptoms due to impingement by the mass, whereas 30% patients may actually present with paraneoplastic syndromes, the most common being myasthenia gravis, followed by pure red cell aplasia. Now, these are different paraneoplastic syndromes that can be associated with thymic malignancies. How to go about evaluation? So, you need also evaluate for paraneoplastic. When it's diagnosed, you look at the serum anticholinesterase antibody levels to rule out myasthenia, TFTs to rule out thyroiditis. Also, see AFP beta HCG so that you are not missing germ cell tumor, LDH for lymphomas, serum gamma globulin levels for A gamma globulinemia, and a bone marrow examination if there is recurrent anemia, refractory anemia, because there may be pure red cell aplasia. For staging and for looking, you may have to do X-ray. CECT is the preferred staging. PET-CT, it improves the sensitivity, more important in thymic carcinomas in order to detect METs, and the uptake in PET actually correlates with the grade. Cardiac MRI sometimes needs to be done pre-operatively because there may be pericardial or myocardial involvement. Regarding biopsy, if it is a resectable disease, biopsy may be omitted. But if it is an unresectable disease and you need to give an upfront chemoradiation or neoadjuvant chemotherapy, then biopsy is recommended. Prognostic factors, so tumor invasiveness, completeness of resection, large size, symptomatic disease, they all correlate with prognosis. Myasthenia gravis has a better prognosis because they are detected early, and age is also again has a better prognosis for the younger people because more aggressive management can be done. The management is multimodality, surgery, radiation, chemotherapy, everything is required, and important is also management of the paraneoplastic syndrome. Now, what to do for operable cases? Surgery is the preferred way. There are different approaches of surgery, and total thymectomy with negative margins is the mainstay of treatment. For R plus resections, a metallic clip should be placed in order to delineate the radiation fields, and while resection, phrenic nerve should be tried to be saved. Operative mortality is near 2.5%, and watch for myasthenia gravis if you are wanting for surgery because it may worsen if you have not detected. You may have intraoperative complications. As we see in this largest retrospective series, that higher is the chance of R0 resection, more is the survival. So total resection is most important, and if you are doing total resection, that is R0 resection, adjuvant radiotherapy or chemotherapy may not be required, and it is not shown to improve outcome in this study. Resectability rates, higher is the stage, lesser is the resectability rate, as we see from stage 1 to stage 4. Now, what is the role of radiotherapy? So this is one retrospective series which shows that there is improvement in 5-year overall survival when post-operative radiotherapy is added, even in completely resected stage 2, stage 3 thymoma. But then these are conflicting results. This is a meta-analysis showing no improvement in overall survival in completely resected stage 2, stage 3 thymomas. So again, these are conflicting results. Another meta-analysis showing improved OS with stage 3 and stage 4 disease having complete resection with post-operative radiotherapy. So adjuvant radiotherapy in R0 resection is something to be individualized, may be useful in stage 3, stage 4 thymomas, but in R plus resection, it is usually from stage 2 onwards, but in stage 1, when it is really localized, even in R plus resection, adjuvant radiotherapy may not be given. No role of neoadjuvant radiotherapy, and in inoperable cases, definitive radiotherapy can be given. What about inoperable?
Only 2 minutes left.
Yeah, so in inoperable cases, there is a role of CAP, and then there is also a role for induction chemotherapy followed by surgery, followed by chemoradiation. This is our Indian experience of thymoma, 40% resectability rates with neoadjuvant chemo. In thymoma, targeted therapy, no benefit has been observed. Recurrence has to be treated in the similar line, surgery if possible, otherwise chemoradiation or radiation. Carcinoma, I think we'll go to straight. CT scan is important. It shows more necrosis, more cystic, more calcification. PET-CT has more uptake. Management, again, surgery, post-operative radiotherapy in all cases is required, even if completely resected. And incompletely resected, yes, chemotherapy, adjuvant chemotherapy is more required in stage 2, stage 3 disease. In stage 1 and stage 2, you can leave out adjuvant chemotherapy is completely resected. Again, showing a good evidence for post-operative radiotherapy. Neoadjuvant chemoradiation also has been used with etoposide cisplatin. So this is the algorithm. I'll skip. These are the different systemic therapy, options. And then there are so many second line treatment options. These are the response rates of diseases. So most commonly used CAP regimen, 50% response rate, higher response rate with addition of vincristine in the ad hoc regimen. but the overall survivals are usually same. So again, 12 months duration of response, same with ADOC, 12 months duration of response, and same with VIP, again 12 months duration of response. Now different targets are also there in thymic carcinomas, but again these have not yielded to targeted treatment. So these are the results. Very poor response rates when you are using gefitinib, imatinib, although the c-KIT is there, although EGFR expression is there. Sunitinib only used in platinum refractory thymic carcinomas, not in thymoma, 26% response rate. Lenvatinib recent study, 38% partial response, 57% stable disease, again platinum refractory thymic carcinomas. These are the options of systemic therapy which has been used in a prospective study. So 70% most commonly used induction chemotherapy is CAP. Most commonly used first line treatment in systemic therapy is CAP. Second line
Vivek, you
most
need to
commonly
wind
used
up, please.
Paclicarbo. And
Vivek, please
just
wind up.
three more slides, sir. And sunitinib is the most commonly used in third line. That is what is the result showing. Pembrolizumab again in thymic carcinomas. Response rate is 22%. Duration of response up to 22 months, irrespective of PDL1. In second line onwards, we can use. But remember, in thymoma, there is very high incidence of immune-related adverse events, so not to be used in thymoma. Rule out autoimmune disorders as well as paraneoplastic syndromes before you use immunotherapy. Otherwise, it may worsen. And nivolumab has not shown any improved results and high incidence of immune-related. So these are the most, this is my last slide. So the take-home message is surgery is important for all resectable cases, even in stage 4A and for recurrence. Post-operative radiotherapy for R plus resections, it has to be done in most cases, but for R negative resection, maybe in stage 3, stage 4 thymomas, but in stage 2 thymic carcinoma onwards. And chemotherapy, the main line is adjuvant in stage 2 onwards. In incompletely resected, you can use in stage 3 onwards. And in systemic therapy, main first line is CAP, followed by Paclicarbo, followed by pembrolizumab or VEGF TKI, either sunitinib or lenvatinib. So this is my in short. Thank you. Thanks a lot. And